What's up, y'all? Welcome to the very first episode of On the Bandwagon. Possibly the very last one as well, but we'll see how we go. My name's Thomas Lee. I'm here with two of my best friends. I've got Danny City over in Vancouver. What up, Danny?
What up? What up?
I got James Kerr over back in Sydney. What up, James?
What up, everybody?
So the reason we're doing this is we're three best friends that we'd like to chat and discuss NBA topics, and we thought we'd keep it going and share it with the fans. So everybody, welcome, and I hope you enjoy. Today we're going to talk about the Rookie of the Year and all the other awards that follow. So suit up and let's get ready to roll. Let's start with Coach of the Year. My hat is going to tip to the coach from the Rockets. His name's escaped me, actually, to be honest.
Surprise, surprise, Mike D'Antoni, Phoenix Suns head coach.
Yo, Mike D'Antoni.
The true tendency of a bandwagoner.
I think he's done a great job with the team that was struggling last year, and they've managed to put together a really great roster. So he's got my vote there. What do you reckon, James? Who's your Coach of the Year candidate?
I'm probably going to go with a less popular candidate. I'm going to go with Quinn Snyder of the Utah Jazz. What he's been able to do with that roster, improve them defensively, offensively, bring in an all-star, well, not bring in an all-star, but build up an all-star from in-house. I think he's doing a great job. So if I had to vote, he'd be my candidate.
I would have to sort of agree with both of you. I mean, I had Mike D'Antoni as the Coach of the Year as my number one, but I had Quinn Snyder as a number two. Like James said, the development of Gordon Hayward, Rudy Gobert, also bringing in Joe Johnson and integrating him with the young players. I think when he first came in, Utah progressively increased their wins, and then the third year, by winning 51 games, I think is incredible. So he's done a great job. But Mike D'Antoni, I think, is the Coach of the Year purely because of what he's been able to do with that team and really making them into a true contender in the regular season, that is.
Would you say that's more coach, or would you say that's more GM there?
Yeah, I would say the GM did a good job in terms of getting the players, but the biggest thing that D'Antoni did was move James Harden to the point guard, and to do that and to also make him want to pass the ball, like James Harden, who's known as a black hole for the past few years. I think that deserves Coach of the Year.
Seems like D'Antoni's finally got the team he wanted to build in the Suns, with surrounding himself with a great point guard, but also really quality three-point shooters.
Don't say that, man. The Phoenix Suns, when Nash won the 2 MVPs, they were unstoppable.
That's my team. That's my boy. All right, Defensive Player of the Year. What are your thoughts on that, Danny?
At first, I thought I was all over Kawhi Leonard as Defensive Player of the Year, just because some of the stuff that he does that's not recorded on the stat sheet. I mean, you watch some of the games and he's just absolutely locking up people, and he's always got the right passing lanes, right defensive stance, always down low. Just watching him, I think and he's a two-time Defensive Player of the Year for a reason. But I think this year I would have to go with Draymond Green.
No,
I don't have any. I don't have any. I didn't look up any of the stats to back that up, but what he does, I think his help defense. I mean, he has to cover for Steph Curry all the time, and he just alters a lot of shots, and he's really battling for the boards, and he just does everything defensively for the Golden State Warriors, and I think he's always been number two in the Defensive Player of the Year awards last few years, so I think he's just due for a win this year. I can see James shaking his head, but
what do you reckon, James?
Come on, bro. You can't even argue this. Kawhi Leonard for sure.
It's a close 1 and 2.
Spurs have the best defense in the league. He's the best defender on the best defensive team in the league. If you look up and down the Spurs roster, outside of Danny Green, there's no plus defenders on this roster. You got to make up for Tony Parker. You got to make up for Pau Gasol. You got to make up for LaMarcus Aldridge, and they're still the best defensive team in the league. Shout out to Pops as well. I think Draymond Green is semi-great, and he is very versatile. But if you look at the guys in the top 20 defensive win share, Golden State have 3 guys in there. So you can't say Draymond Green's carrying them on defense. I mean, they have a pretty good squad up and down the roster. So yeah, I gotta go with the Spurs. I gotta go with Kawhi Leonard. You gotta reward that number one defense. If if you didn't give it to Kawhi, I think you would give it to Rudy Gobert actually, not Draymond Green. Led the
So
league in
Rudy's not even your
blocks.
number two.
Not my number two, man.
But this guy is just checking 1 through 5. Like he's doing everything for Golden State.
Well, then why didn't LeBron win Defensive Player of the Year when he was doing that?
LeBron's giving up half the time on defense. He's resting on defense.
Now he is. But back in the day, he was checking 1 to 5 and he was dominating checking 1 to 5. And nobody ever put his name in Defensive Player of the Year.
Leonard's not leading the league in defensive win share. I think Draymond Green is. And he's also leading the league in steals as well.
Rudy Gobert's leading the league in defensive win shares. That's why he's my number two.
Okay, I can't argue with that.
All right, Rookie of the Year. Any thoughts on that?
Apart from Joel Embiid, like, I haven't been paying attention to any of the rookies.
I agree. I think it's been pretty quiet for the rookies this year.
Yeah, like I don't.
Nah, you gotta go with a Philly player, but not Joel Embiid here. We're talking about Dario Saric. First of all, he played in 81 games. He's quietly averaging, over 12 points, 6 boards, 2 assists. Doing that as a rookie. They asked him to come off the bench for a while, starting for a while.
Yeah, but on Philly, I could do that on Philly. What do you reckon?
That's true.
Everybody says Embiid had great averages. He did, but he only played 31 games. You can't reward a player for playing 31 games. That's outrageous, if you ask me. Also, I think Joel Embiid made some pretty dumb decisions off the court. I mean, you can't be saying you can't play because you have a knee injury and then getting up at a concert and dancing in front of everybody. That's just not a good look.
That's off the court stuff. I mean, yeah, it can affect it, but he's already out by that time.
Yeah, I just don't think it's a good look. And then I think the ultimate sealer for Saric was had him on my fantasy squad. So
All right, 6-man, and
I'll let you guys go first because I think I'm gonna have a surprising candidate here.
ooh, my vote goes to Eric Gordon. I think him coming off the bench, giving that firepower, has just been amazing. I think he's just revitalized his career. He's just been shooting lights out. And yeah, he's got my vote in that regard. What do you reckon, Danny?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Eric Gordon would have to be the 6-man of the year. I think he started at the beginning of the year, moved to the bench, and he's just second leading scorer for Houston, shooting at a high clip. I actually think he's just been a key guy for Houston coming off the bench. So I agree with you.
All right, James, give us a surprise
You hyped
candidate.
it up. You hyped us up. What is it?
I'm gonna go with Marcus Smart from the Boston Celtics for 6-man of the year.
Marcus Smart.
He's a defensive pit bull. He does a bit of everything for the top seed as well in the East. Haters gonna say that his field goal percentage is rubbish, and it is. I think he only shoots about 30% from the floor and like 25% from three, but he's still out there getting you 10 points per game, almost 4 boards, 4.6 assists, 1.6 steals. Those are big numbers for a 6-man. And then I think if you watch Boston games, his versatility is what makes them so dangerous. I mean, he's out there checking LeBron James as a 1 guard. He's hounding the best players defensively. When him, Bradley, and Crowder are on together, I think Boston have a amazing defensive trio, which is why I'm so surprised they're not in the top 10 for defense.
Plus, you have him flopping around everywhere.
Well, yeah, that too, but
I actually thought you were going to say Enes Kanter because he was my second pick for 6-man if I had to.
no, man, he has to play more games. He can't go and injure himself punching a chair. That's some dumb shit.
Yeah, but it's
I think Marcus Smart deserves it just for getting rid of those blonde tip highlights in his hair.
Yeah.
The real MVP right there.
Yeah, you've heard it.
All right, let's move on. Speaking of which, let's move on to the big one, which is the MVP. I think
We're gonna do
gonna-
most improved, bro. One more award before.
oh, we got most improved. Sorry. All right,
We're gonna
let's
do
move on.
executive of the year as well.
Nah, we're not on that level of detail.
All right.
Most improved. What are your thoughts on that one?
You go first, James.
Alright, my most improved player is Rudy Gobert. Increase his scoring average by 5 points per game, upped his rebounding to 12.8. He was 11 rebounds last year, 1.5 assists. He's up to 2 now, and then leading the league in blocks at 2.6 blocks per game. Utah are second in opponent field goal percentage. They're third overall in defense. Last season, Utah were eighth. I would also say when I'm looking at most improved player of the year, I rule out all the all-stars because if you're an all-star, you've already made it. You're not improving. You made it.
But what if you want?
Ooh.
Okay. Because I've got to come back to that one. My one's a bit more mainstream. Mine is Giannis Antetokounmpo. Would be my most.
Well, how do you pronounce that name?
Antetokounmpo. The Greek freak, all right. I'm gonna call him the Greek freak. I mean, and to counter your point about, he was an all-star this year, and to counter your point, James, around, excluding all-stars as most improved, but this guy wasn't an all-star last year, and now he is an all-star this year. So, I mean, that has to be an improvement, right?
If you look at his stats from last year to this year, do you see a significant increase?
He's bumped up his point average from, I think, 16 to 22, his rebounds from 7 to 8, assists 4 to 5, and steals from 1.2 to 2, blocks from 1.4 to 2.2. So he's upped all his stats in every major statistical category. And like you said before, he's in top 20 in like those 5 categories or whatever, which is the first time ever in NBA history. Plus, he's had to deal with major injuries from his teammates, in terms of Chris Middleton for the majority of the year. You got Jabari Parker that went down early, so he's been able to carry this team into the playoffs, and now upset Raptors in the first game of the first round. So it just adds to his case for most improved, I think.
I think he would have been my second pick, but yeah, I excluded him because I don't believe all-stars should win most improved.
But he's coming from a non-all-star to an all-star. I understand if it's 2 all-stars in a row. You agree with that?
Nah, I don't agree with that. I think
Okay.
once you're an all-star, you've made it, so you shouldn't be considered for most improved. I mean, you're already being recognized for your game.
Yeah. Okay.
I think there's a lot of great candidates. I think Eric Gordon's got a good case to push for that as well. Jokic and Denver's had a great end of the series,
Yeah.
end of the season, so he's got a good push for that as well. I think all stars can be most improved too. I think some players will breach through and just excel even more. And in the words of Michael Jordan, the roof is your ceiling. So all right, let's move on. MVP now. This is going to be a great discussion on who you think is the most valuable player in the league. My hat goes off to Russell Westbrook. I think there's just no beating those amount of triple doubles. 42 in the season. He's had a few 50-point triple doubles, which is just insane. What are your thoughts on that one, James? Who do you think should win?
First of all, you're on the Houston bandwagon, but you're not even going to select a Houston player. What's the deal
Hey,
there?
that's the beauty of being on a bandwagon. You can hop on whichever one you want.
Whatever suits your argument, right?
That's right.
So I'm gonna agree. I'm gonna go with Westbrook here. It's hard to argue against Westbrook. Triple double season. He's leading the league in box plus minus. It's not even close. I mean, he's at 15.5 and James Harden's at 10.1, I think. Those who argue that he doesn't play defense, he's second in the league in defensive box plus minus. James Harden is way down the list. And then I think the other thing that I've been reading going around is that his team helped him out with the rebound stats. First reaction was, Danny, why didn't you help box out players so I could grab some more boards?
And like I said, if you were averaging a triple double close to, then I would. But we all know that's not true.
But I would say, I looked up the stat yesterday. If you looked at uncontested rebounds, he does lead the league in uncontested rebounds. I think 7 defensively and 1 point something offensively. But it's not outrageous. I mean, the top centers in the league are averaging about 7 uncontested rebounds as well. So I think if you make the effort to come down as a guard and grab that uncontested rebound, why not? I do think he does get a few bunnies from the free throw line, but then he's still grabbing, I think, about three plus offensive rebounds per game. So he's definitely hustling out there. I think what he's done with this team post Kevin Durant, nobody can argue with that. Where I disagreed with Danny earlier, I think OKC's roster, top to bottom, is pretty scrub-like. So the fact that he's been able to carry them not just into the playoffs, but into the 6th seed. They were contending for a higher seed earlier in the season, but they lost a few games. I think you have to reward that and give it to the West Beast.
I'm in the school of thought of, I hate to say it, but I'm in the school of thought where I think LeBron James wins it every year. I really do. I mean, what the guy does,
Like,
I mean,
Represent Cleveland.
you better make some room
I
on
know,
that
I-
bandwagon, James. You better.
it hurts my heart to say that.
Yo, the passenger seat's still empty, man. You can ride with me.
I think LeBron James wins it every year. I mean, his contribution to that team and the performance of the team, is unmeasurable without him. I think they're winless this year without him. And in the past, how many times they haven't played without him, I think they're like, a ridiculous 4 from 19 or something. Making those numbers up, but you guys get the point. I think he should win it every year, but I know that he won't. So my pick would be, and I agree with both of you, Russell Westbrook. They lost Kevin Durant, who's former MVP, only 2 years removed, and they won 55 games last year. They lose him, and they come back and they've won. How many have they won this year? Like 49 or 47 games. I mean,
47.
that just makes 47 games. I mean, that makes a Durant. That means Durant's a +8 win player. Like, the fact that Russell Westbrook's been able to do that is just amazing. And people argue, oh, he's not playing defense, he's getting cheap rebounds, but those rebounds straight away, because he grabs a rebound and boom, it's a fast break. He can do an outlet pass or whatever, or go coast to coast, whatever. So it just impacts the game in various ways. So yeah, I think Russell Westbrook for MVP.
James Harden's on 29.1 points, 8.1 rebounds, and 11.2 assists.
I mean, he's basically almost averaging triple-double himself.
He's almost there, yeah.
He's almost there. I think it's like 2 rebounds a game, and then his averaging triple-double. But I'm a firm believer that, like I said before, Houston's system is just so much advanced or better, and it allows him to get those assist rates up. And to be honest, I think half of James Harden's assists, well, maybe I'm exaggerating, but I would say 3 or 4 of James Harden's assists are just off, 1 pass 3 to Ryan Anderson, 4 feet behind the 3-point line, 1 pass to Eric Gordon, 3-point line. I mean, 1 pass to Lou Williams, assist. You know what I mean?
I think you're discounting Harden's value there then, because the only reason they can do a 1 pass assist is because the defense is collapsed in making sure James Harden doesn't score. So I would disagree.
I'm just talking about, if they're doing a swing play or whatever, and Ryan Anderson just pops out to the 3, and it's just a simple chest pass, and Ryan Anderson, he's shooting at like a 40% clip from beyond the arc. I'm not taking anything. I'm not taking anything away from James Harden. But I just think the impact of Westbrook's assists is higher than James Harden's. That's what I think.
Yeah, I would agree with that statement. OKC doesn't run any offense. They literally run pick and roll, and Westbrook has to do everything. So I would agree with you on that front. On the LeBron James front, I agree.
Oh, you might have slung him.
So I don't think LeBron should win it this year. I think this year and last year, definitely Steph Curry deserved it last year. I think Westbrook definitely deserves it this year. I don't think Steph deserved it the year before, and I don't think Kevin Durant deserved it the year before that. I think LeBron James should have won both those years. That year Derrick Rose won it, that was a fucking joke, if I'm honest.
I think Dwight Howard should have won that year, but that's a different discussion in itself.
LeBron James should have won that every year. I mean, they talk about this every year, and they're like, who should win the MVP? And the answer should be the best player in the NBA, and undisputed for a long time that's been LeBron James, but he doesn't get that candidacy. And I think Jordan should have won more MVPs, and I think Kobe should have won some more MVPs in his time as well.
Steve
So
Nash
it's
should
unfortunate.
definitely not won back-to-back.
Steve Nash should have won one MVP.
Just one, yeah, but not back-to-back.
No way. That should have won it. Steve Nash is my guy. Don't go disrespecting him.
But yeah, I think if they actually awarded the MVP based on the best player, LeBron would probably have about 8 right now. So,
All right, last topic. Who do you think will take out the championship? You know what my vote is, so we don't even have to discuss that.
or is
Golden
it
State
Houston
are
or
going
Golden
to
State?
it's Golden
Yeah,
State.
which
Golden
one? I
State
don't know
will
which
clinch it.
one.
Durant's back and forth. I think what a great roster. If we can sort out and get some bench production, I think we'll have a pretty good run. Defense is obviously a big issue, especially defense and bigs. Look, if we can shoot it up, we can shoot at a high percentage. We can lock down and keep teams around the 100 mark. I think we'll have a good chance.
I think I agree with you. Golden State just have too much firepower to not win the championship. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Kevin Durant, Draymond Green. That's all you have to say. Like
Zaza Pachulia.
it's oh, and Zaza. Okay, yeah, and Zaza.
Get out of here with Zaza, man. Come on.
But I think they just got too much firepower, and you only need one out of the four to play well in any game. And if one person's not playing well, then you have three more chances for other people to play well. So, and I actually think that they would have won last year if Draymond Green hadn't got suspended. So, I think they're due to win it again this year.
Don't bring up bad memories, man.
I really want to say the Cavs here. I'm a huge LeBron fan,
Am I? Go on.
I hear a butt coming.
but I'm gonna have to go with the San Antonio Spurs.
Ooh.
What?
That's right. That's right. I think this is the first year where I thought Cleveland didn't have the East on lock. And everybody's like, don't worry about it, they're going to flip a switch, but I don't think it works that way, especially on the defensive end. I think if they were struggling offensively, but when you struggle defensively all season, it's really hard to just turn that around in the playoffs. I do think Golden State has a good shot, but I think that the Spurs will come out on top. They're just too well coached. They got a legit MVP. They play a very good system. The Spurs bashed Golden State in the very first game of the season, and they're too deep. When Golden State goes to its bench and when the Spurs go to its bench, I think Patty Mills is going to destroy Ian Clark or whoever you put out on the floor. You got David Lee, you got Pau Gasol coming off the bench. You still have Manu. I think they're too deep and too strong, so I'm going to go with the Spurs.
That's actually a real surprise. Didn't expect that one.
I also hate Golden State, so I'll never vote.
I don't think the Spurs have the bigs that they I mean, Golden State's big weakness is obviously against the bigs, and I don't think Spurs have that anymore without Tim Duncan. I think we'll be able to play a lot of guys on Kawhi Leonard. We'll be able to interchange a lot of players, Iggy, Durant, Draymond Green. We'll be able to throw a lot of guys at Kawhi to keep him hopefully contained. And I think our backcourt will be able to run rings, so hopefully Golden State will be able to pull through and get an easy run to the finals.
I think Aldridge is that presence that needs to punish Golden State inside.
He's
If
got to
they
have a
can
big
get
game.
if they can get Aldridge going down low, I mean, when I think back to the games that I've watched that were Spurs Golden State, I only watched the season opener, but Draymond Green couldn't check Aldridge down there. He's too big for him.
Aldridge had a pretty big game in that season opener there.
Yeah, so I think if they can get Aldridge going along with Kawhi, I think they got a really good shot of taking out Golden State.
I mean, you're right. The Spurs are very well coached, very well balanced. There's no big drop off between starting lineup and the bench. But I think in the playoffs you need that extra, that next level that you can step onto. But I don't think the Spurs have that. I think the Spurs are just consistently good. And I think Golden State just have too much firepower where they can step two more levels above to what they can. I mean, they can, even if they're down 20, that could be erased to single digit in 4 possessions or 3 or 4 possessions. I think there's too much firepower. I think.
If I was the Spurs and I had to match up with Golden State, I would let Steph Curry do his thing. I would lock down Klay, and I would use Kawhi Leonard to lock down Kevin Durant. And I would let Draymond Green do whatever the hell he wanted. Every shot he takes is a good shot for me.
The Spurs and Golden State play the same way. Let's just be honest. But then Golden State have the better team, have the better players.
Oh, definitely, I think
that's my mentality. So that's
I'm
why I
still
think.
going with Spurs.
Yeah, no, you're entitled to your opinion, but it's wrong. But you.
What about the East? Do you reckon will come out in the East? You think the Cavs got it on lock? Think they'll find a way to pull through?
Yeah, I think they will. I still think that they will be challenged in the East, and I'm hoping that they get challenged in this round and the next round and in the finals. Because if they have any shot in the NBA finals, they need to be playing at their best.
The problem will be cramping in the first game of the finals, though.
Poor Pierce will run out of that wheelchair, don't you worry. He'll be ready to put him in the wheelchair. It's definitely been good seeing the East being more competitive. I think throughout the first half of the season, everyone just thought the Cavs would roll through, but it's good to see some teams pulling up and possibly challenging their title.
Yeah, Cavs will definitely be tested all the way to the finals, and I just think by the time they reach the finals, they'll be absolutely gassed, I think. And like I keep on saying, Golden State they just have too much.
Welcome to the
If
bandwagon, guys. That's all we've got time for. Thanks for joining the podcast. Hope you enjoyed our analysis.
Get on the
See
bandwagon.
everyone.